This is the important part. It starts ninth grade, and a lot of students forget that when they're in ninth grade because senior year looks so far away. They think, oh, I've got time to fix things if I screw up my freshman year. But that's not really the case. Because you ever destroy your GPA, it's really hard to get it back up, right? So I tell the freshmen there are 4 major things that colleges typically look for in an application.
Welcome to From Classroom to Campus, where we have open-minded conversations about what's going on in education. Our goal is to help showcase the incredible work happening in schools, celebrate transformative teaching, and shift the focus towards powerful ways educators change lives and prepare students for the future. This is episode number 2, Path to Independence, life skills every student needs to be college ready. I'm your host, Philip Bates, and I'm also excited to have Megan Blessing here. She's going to keep us in line today. Hello, Megan.
Hi, Philip.
My guest today is a Swiss Army knife of education. She's an AVID coordinator. AVID stands for Advancement via Individual Determination, a global nonprofit dedicated to closing the achievement gap and preparing all students for college readiness and lifelong success. She's a life skills guru at Richardson High School, part of the Richardson Independent School District in Texas, a campus known for both academic excellence and socioeconomic diversity. She's a curriculum creator, a life coach for teens, and yes, a proud member of her campus fun committee. For more than 15 years, she's helped students go from "where's my backpack" to "I've got a college plan and a scholarship spreadsheet." She teaches students how to get organized, speak up, lead with confidence, and yes, even use a planner like their future depends on it, because it kind of does. Today, she's here to talk about the AVID program and how we can help transform students into independent, future-ready adults. So whether you're a fellow educator working with students on college readiness, a parent trying to teach life skills without sounding like a TED Talk, which is what I sound like typically, or just wondering how one person can have this much energy, this episode is for you. Welcome to the UWorld studio, Beth Brown.
Hello, good to be here.
Great for you.
Wow, that's quite an introduction. Good job. I kind of want to copy it.
Excellent. I'll give you a copy. Fantastic. All right, so we like to kick things off with a little game that we call Hook, Line, and Thinker. You're going to grab ultimately 3 questions. We'll do it one at a time.
One at a time.
Don't look.
Okay. So I can't look for the keywords. Okay. What is a book, movie, interview, or training that you think everyone in education should experience? Without question, whether you teach AVID or not, I would say AVID Summer Institute. And the reason why, so I've been a staff developer for 12 years. Mm-hmm. So I travel around the US and I teach teachers AVID stuff. And I'm also a content developer. And so while I want to say I'm being biased because I think AVID is the best, really what's really cool is after doing so many trainings, even at schools, like bringing AVID to the schools and doing training on their campuses. And then whenever I send teachers, non-AVID teachers, core teachers, elective teachers to Summer Institute, they always come back saying that it has been one of the most rewarding, thought-provoking, and fun
absolutely
trainings that they've ever been to. They get to leave with practical materials that they can implement literally the very next day, and they're having fun while they're doing it. We're huge on collaboration. And so without question, they're all throughout the US every summer, and they're pretty incredible.
Very student-centered too. Like there's always student performances and student interviews and all that stuff. That's
so we have what's called the student leadership. That's actually the COP that I help write and lead. And so we have interviews, and we pull applications from each city. So for me in Dallas.
Like the host city, right?
Exactly, the host city. And so we send out applications to all these students throughout different schools, and then they send in applications. We choose 26 students, and they spend 4 days with us in the summer. Essentially, they are the celebrities of Summer Institute. And it's kind of fun for me because I get to hang out with the celebrities,
Yeah.
But they go through and we teach them, kind of sharpen them up to be presenters in front of the adults. Yep. And then over the course of the second in third day, they are speaking directly to principals, superintendents, counselors, teachers, and really just sharing the students' points of view. Because something in AVID is we believe very, very hugely in relationships in AVID, and it's relationships in family, and communication, and it's a two-way street. Yeah. And so we feel like student voice is very important. Yeah. Tell me what I can do to improve. Tell me what students want to see. Yeah. And so they get to do that. And they get a letter from the CEO, a rec letter from the CEO to use for scholarships and college applications. Yeah,
and great training. So the teachers, so exactly, great training. We also have student speakers, educator speakers, a keynote. It's phenomenal. It's wonderful. Yeah, awesome. Okay. All right, question number 2.
All right. If you had to teach a class on something totally unrelated to your job, what would it be? That one was a tough one. I did not know the answer, what it would be. Can I pick a different one?
Absolutely.
That one was so hard because I do so many different things that I'm passionate about. Like I talk about all of it.
I was about to say your daily job is teaching all kinds of stuff.
My daily job, like we talk about sports, we talk about college, we talk about life, we talk about friendships,
and you did the coaching thing a long time ago.
Yeah, I was a head coach for 10 years. So we talk about all of it. So it's like, I don't know that there's much that is unrelated to my job.
Hey.
So maybe that's my answer.
Let's go with that answer. I think that's good.
Yeah, because literally no question is off the table.
And you wear a lot of hats.
I wear a lot of hats. Yeah. In addition to being the AVID coordinator, AVID senior teacher, and writing curriculum and other things that you said, I also am in charge of school-wide special projects, events, and pep rallies. And I'm our pep rally MC. Yeah. So right now, coming up at the end of the year with senior week and senior events, it's getting kind of crazy.
Getting busy.
So yes, there's nothing off the table for me. And I tell my students that all the time because relationships are very important. I'm a storyteller teacher. Mm-hmm. So they know a lot about me, but I do that so they open up to me because I always want them to have an adult that they can trust to ask anything to and know that they're going to get the truthful answer and they're not going to be judged because of it.
Sure.
Some of the questions that have been brought up to me may not be appropriate, but you're just like, wow. Yeah. They didn't have anybody else to ask, so there's really nothing. There's really nothing that's not unrelated to my job, I guess. All right, if you could redesign high school education, why did I get the hardest ones?
This is a tough one.
What's one major change you'd make? I would make, I'll just tell you the one that I've been complaining about that's very surface level.
I'm interested.
It's nothing political because I don't like going down that road, but because I'm passionate about what I can do right now with these kids in the classroom today. So I would say that they need to make budgeting and finance a required class to graduate.
Love it.
That's my answer because it's not a required class. I made my own curriculum to teach the seniors because I refuse to let them go out to college without having financial literacy because that is the leading cause of so many things. Oh.
You almost knocked over your gong.
I almost knocked over my good news gong, yes. I got a little excited, yes.
So let's talk about financial literacy a little bit.
Yeah.
Just because I'm curious. Balancing a checkbook, how a credit card works.
There's no checkbooks anymore, my friend.
I know.
No.
So how about managing the app on their phone?
Yeah, basically it's about budgeting. What comes in and what goes out. Especially now with all the tiny itty bitty monthly payments that everybody wants.
The subscription stuff.
Exactly. They add up fast. Yeah. Like people don't go in debt by spending $3,000 every day. It's by spending $5 every frequently.
So like when my daughter last night, I looked on our iTunes account and she had purchased Bumble, which is a dating app.
Yeah.
And not explain that to me. And that was really fascinating going, what is this $35 charge? Oh, it's my daughter buying a dating app. And she didn't realize every month it's going to charge her $35.
So that's a life lesson right there.
Yeah. Teachable moment.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. So financial literacy, love that.
Yeah.
Let's get that done.
Yes, absolutely. I don't want them to get taken advantage of.
Absolutely.
So one of the ways that I teach financial literacy, it's not like most classes. I teach them through I'm a teacher. They know how much I make. It's public knowledge.
Yeah.
So I literally pull up my bank account and I show them what it looks like to look at my checking, savings, credit card. I teach them about points on credit cards.
Nice.
But how you shouldn't get a credit card. Well, you should get a credit card, use it once a month, pay it off every month until you build up your credit and learn how to be responsible. Then you start using credit cards for points and miles and stuff. Yeah. But teach them how to just get started with credit. Teach them, just kind of the main things that they need to look out for and how to like not get scammed, how to not get scammed over also by like, even when you're buying a vehicle, things to look out for because I just share my own stories. Yeah. I'm like, this is what happened to me. And it's amazing when I say that, when I teach through my stories, they remember for years. When I just teach it, what's on the board,
because they can make a connection to something.
Absolutely. And so then 10 years will go past and something will happen and it'll be like, ding, this is familiar. Mm-hmm. And I always tell them, I go, I'm not expecting you to remember how to do all of this, but I'm hoping that when you get in these situations, it'll remind you what steps to do to do the research to make sure that you're doing the right thing. And that's what I'm passionate about, making sure they understand about budgeting and finance because the money will get there, but ultimately you got to make sure you're looking out for the big picture.
Absolutely. All right. So let's transition to, there's a lot of folks that are probably listening to this that don't know exactly what AVID is.
Yeah.
So I want to know how you got into AVID and maybe just give us maybe your elevator pitch on what makes AVID so great.
It's divine intervention that I became a teacher because I promise you, I never wanted to become a teacher. If you told me that I was going to be a teacher back in high school, I would have been like, you're a little crazy. But so I'd worked in sports marketing and advertising. I got my degree from the University of Texas at Austin in public relations. And I did, like I said, sports marketing and advertising for about 7 years. And I had a great time. I loved it. I was in charge of multi-million-dollar accounts with the NFL and NCAA and these really cool entities. But, I'd be traveling to the Super Bowl and I felt a little empty. Mm-hmm. It's like I was making fun for everyone, but I felt like I was just missing something. And whenever I would have a new employee that I was, I was their boss or whatever, I found so much fulfillment helping them.
Yep.
And so I decided, I played volleyball in high school. We were state champions back in the day. And I decided, I met my husband and he was a teacher. And I just started thinking, my mind just started thinking. And, sports marketing, it's a great industry. I love it. But it can be a little tough sometimes and a little difficult on the family and the dynamics of people that work in there. It's an interesting, entity. And so I started coaching club volleyball just to see if I enjoyed working with students. And I would literally be driving to the gym in the worst mood after having a horrible day at work, not wanting to be there. And then I would leave the gym to go home feeling like a whole new person. Yeah. And so I cued into that and I observed and I decided to just make the jump. And so I got married. When I came back from my honeymoon, I put in my 2 weeks notice. Because it was June 2nd. And then I had a job lined up in August at Richardson High School because they had a volleyball opening. Yep. And so since I don't have a teaching certificate, I had to go through alt cert. Yes, I went through Region 10, which they were fantastic. Good. And I had a speech communications certification. And so that kind of got me in the door. Well, I've been there. I was walking the halls. It was like maybe my second or third month at the school. And I do have a loud personality. And so, I'm not really the one that's quiet, walking down the halls, keeping their head down.
People knew who you were.
Easier than sometimes, right? And so this gentleman named Ben Solomon, AVID teacher, he passed me. He's like, oh, hey, Beth, I wanted to ask you something. And I was like, yeah, what's up? And he goes, have you ever thought about teaching AVID? And my first response is, AVID? AVID? What? I don't know what that is. And so he starts telling me about it. And I was just like, that sounds amazing. Because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to teach real life. When I was teaching speech communications, I was passionate about the resumes and the cover letters and how to speak, interviewing. Like I was really energetic about that aspect of it. And so this was kind of like the key to that class. And so the very next year, I taught a group of juniors. And then the year after that, Ben left. I took over as AVID coordinator. I graduated my first group of seniors, and that was 17 years ago.
That's awesome.
Since then, we've become a national demonstration school, and which is in the top 2-3% of all schools worldwide.
I mean, I think it's safe to say Richardson High School, kind of legendary for AVID. And you're a big reason behind that, I think. I mean,
it doesn't feel like hard work. It's when it's fun and you love it. It's easier people want to join you because they see the passion that you have, And so it spreads because I try to be a positive reflection of what AVID is.
Absolutely.
And by respecting the teachers and working with them as opposed to making their lives harder.
So good segue. So what does AVID do to get students college ready?
Essentially, their mission is to get all students college, career, and or life ready. Yeah. College or career and or career. And we say that because we realize that not every student is going to go to college. However, we do want the students to get training to be career ready, right? Whether that happens in high school or that happens in junior college, technical school, military. Yeah. We just want to make sure that they're successful. But the mission of AVID is not just to get them into these programs after high school, not just to get into college, but we want them to have the skills in high school so they are successful in order and able to graduate college. Sure. So high school graduation is not my end goal. Sure. By any stretch of the imagination. And I'm getting goosebumps sharing that because it's so important that, so many students I connect with after high school, and that's the important thing, seeing them take what they learned in high school and not throw it away, right? So, yeah.
So when you're looking for AVID students, and that's what you guys do. You guys are fantastic as an organization about targeting and finding that student who's going to be successful in AVID. What are you looking for?
So we really want any student that's willing to be driven. So AVID stands for advancement, advancing forward via individual determination. Those are the two important words. We don't want the kids that just want to blow off class because it's not one. You're going to work inside and outside of the classroom because community service is very important to us in AVID, which we can talk about in a minute. Yeah. But we look for students who want to be leaders, who want to get further, but maybe they just don't have the support at home. Yeah. Maybe they haven't been taught the skills yet because maybe they've only been in the country a few years, but they're incredibly intelligent and fully capable. They just, you just need to fill in the gaps. Most of our students are first-generation college-going students. I myself was also first-generation. My father was a chief in the military. My mom was a nurse before she had to go to college to become a nurse. And so we just look for those students who just want to be better. They're kind of in the middle. That essentially we take them wherever they're at. If they're here, we want them here. If they come in here, we want to push them here. If they come in here, we want to push them here. And if they come in here, we're going to do our best to bring them up here. Sure.
So you start working all these skills. I mean, you start like what happens first when you've got a student AVID? What's the process to start getting them college ready?
So it's definitely aligned 9 through 12 as scaffolding, building upon. So what else? The main things and components that we teach in AVID every single year are organization, test-taking strategies, study skills, focus note-taking is huge. I could go on and on about learning how to teaching kids how to take notes and actually having them
notes, all that good stuff, right?
All of it. Well, going back and using the notes, highlighting them, make them messy and dirty because you've used them. They should be pristine. But I don't want to go off on that tangent yet. But so focus note-taking, public speaking, how to present yourself in front of people, how to handle a conversation with an adult. And then we're also, one of the requirements that we have is that students are in at least one of the most rigorous coursework that they can handle. Essentially, pre-AP, AP, dual credit on-ramps. And so we bring together all these components and then we support them through tutorials. And so we have tutors that come into the classroom every week. And students work on, it's called a tutorial request form. It can be a little confusing at first, but it's meant to teach students how to think through their problem. So the biggest complaint with teachers and tutoring sessions, the kid will come up and say, I don't know what to do. And they're like, well, what do you have a problem with? All of it. Well, no, really, where do you get stuck? And so the TRF essentially walks them through that process. And so then they come into the classroom, they sit in groups of 7 or less because we want to make sure that everybody's contributing and participating. And they each take turns going through the problem that they brought to the class that day that they couldn't figure out in one of their other classes. It could be math, science. It could be even help me develop my essay. I'm struggling with my thesis, you know? And so they have that every single week as a support. And we have former AVID students that come in as tutors. Yeah. We have the local colleges come in as tutors, some as work study for the colleges at UTD currently, and even some retired educators too.
Yeah. Well, I think that's part of building that community too, because those
Absolutely.
are other adults that those students can lean on, learn from, all that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And that's how we are with the whole AVID team.
Yeah.
Like every AVID kid knows that even if you could talk to any AVID teacher, even if they're not your AVID teacher, if you just say I'm an AVID student, the door's wide open. And really the door's wide open for every kid.
Sure.
But,
same expectations, same structure.
Exactly.
Across the board.
Yeah.
So in terms of time management, what are you teaching students, in AVID about time management? Because they're juggling their AVID class.
Yeah.
They're juggling extracurriculars. They're juggling a rigorous, course schedule.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you help them work through all that and get them ready for when they're in college and they don't have you there?
Yes.
Helping out.
And it's true. We do ask a lot of our AVID students, take a rigorous class, be involved in extracurricular activity because colleges look for that. Do community service. Yeah. Colleges look at that, So we do ask a lot from them. So one of our requirements is a planner, right? So we actually order planners every summer. You just reminded me I need to put that order in amongst all the other things I got to do right now. But we give each AVID student a planner in the fall. And we do planner and binder checks because organization is vital. If you're doing the homework but you don't know where you put it to turn it in, that's a problem, right? You can be the smartest kid in the school, but if you can't turn in and keep track of your stuff, that's not going to serve you well when you're in your career.
Sure.
Because again, we're teaching those life skills, right? When you get out of high school, there's even more to juggle, surprisingly to them. Yeah. You become a career woman or a career man, you have parents and doing all these different things. And so we like to start them off with the paper planner, mainly also because electronic planners, unless it's in their phone, it's, they can't access it a bunch. And currently phones are not allowed in the schools, which is a huge blessing.
No doubt.
Because I feel like we're actually able to have their attention. That's so excellent. We have Yonder pouches. It was our first year.
Yeah. How's that going?
It's going good. I mean, it's new, but I will say it's been nice that I'm not fighting with the cell phones because I'll be honest, it doesn't bother me that they have to get on the phone and maybe text their parent or whatever. What frustrates me when it comes to phones is having an earbud in and listening to music while someone's teaching because they're missing the material. And then they want to come back later and be like, you didn't say that. Yeah. Or teach me. I'm like, I just taught you, but now you want me to reteach you because you were listening to music during my lunch. Now you want me to reteach you during my lunch break? Sure. And so those are actually conversations we have. I'll call them out and be like, please don't ask me to reteach this to you tomorrow because you're too busy working on calculus, right? But I also give them time to work on calculus, like during tutorials or if we're done with our assignments and stuff. Yeah.
So goal setting, it's a huge thing in AVID.
Yes.
How do you juggle, helping students create goals, helping them, kind of lay out a plan for them, and then making sure those goals are realistic?
Yes. So we do quite a few things actually. In our planner every week, it has a goal spot. And so we want them to put a goal. It doesn't have to be academic every week. It could be personal, or it could be academic, or it could be social. But we want them to get in the habit. Again, it's repetition. Yeah. All of this is repetition. The more they do it regularly, the more they're going to do it naturally when they get out of high school, right? And that's the thought process behind a lot of this. And so, I just totally went squirrel.
Squirrel, verb. To be distracted by something unrelated. So we're talking about goal setting.
Goal setting, that's right. Yeah. So, so we have it at the top of their planners, but then we also have them reflect on their goals at the end of every quarter.
Short-term, long-term, a combination? Okay.
Yeah. So we usually have them write more long-term goals, like for the year at the beginning of the year, and then we kind of check in with them.
Sure.
But then at the end of each quarter, they have to calculate their GPA. And then at the bottom of their GPA, they have to reflect on how their performance.
I like it.
How do you feel about your grades?
Yeah.
And now what can you improve upon? And what's your goal for next quarter?
Yeah.
Because they have to have tiny goals too. Because if you have only long-term or one semester or 1 year goals, it's so easy to forget about them. And I don't know the exact statistics, but I've heard this years ago and it always resonated with me. But there's some sort of statistics about if you write down your goal, you're somewhat percentage more likely to achieve that goal as opposed to just having it up here.
So Oprah told me that a long time ago.
Did Oprah tell you that? Maybe Oprah told me that too.
True story. Oprah told me you write them down and you tell people.
Yes.
Because if you tell people, they will hold you accountable for your goals.
And they share with their partners. Exactly. They share with their peers.
Excellent.
They share with me.
Yeah.
And then I can say, awesome, or are you sure you're going to hold yourself to this? Don't write something down, but I believe in you, right? Yeah. But I like to play with them sometimes too, if it's, that's important.
All these things you're talking about are fantastic. They don't have to just happen in AVID class.
Oh, goodness, no.
And I know you work really, really hard with the rest of the faculty at Richardson High School.
Absolutely.
Talk me through that.
It's so easy to implement into your own classroom, no matter what you teach. Relationship building. Again, like I'm a storyteller teacher. I incorporate personal life experiences into what I'm teaching. I know that can be harder in some subjects, but you can also incorporate the stories in between whatever the hard subject is, right? Because you want them to get to know you. But
talking to other teachers and training other
that's
teachers.
Right.
Really just not just AVID strategies, but just
everyday good strategies. Yeah. And that's what it's all about. I facilitate
because you got a lot of street cred. I mean, you have a lot of
I do have a lot of street cred. Yes.
If I worked in your school and like I was a new teacher, even a veteran teacher, and you stood up and said, "Hey guys, we're going to talk today about goal setting, organization, how to support students."
Yeah.
I'd probably be all ears.
Well, this is how I get them because sometimes they hear from me a lot and then deaf ears because nobody wants to hear the same person talk all the time. So actually what I do sometimes I bring students in to talk for me.
Nice.
It's amazing. It's wonderful. I also inquire them. So I was teaching focused note taking, right? Okay. And one of my biggest frustrations is that teachers just assume students know how to take notes. So my question to the teachers was, who taught you how to take notes? And who taught your students that you currently have how to take notes? If you don't know that answer, you should be teaching them how to take notes. And that takes minimal adjustment to your lesson plan. Rather than giving them a whole worksheet full of all the answers, make them work a little bit, right? Don't just give them all fill in the blank. Sure. Make them write in some more. Make them go back. This is the important part. Mm-hmm. Review what they've done and write questions in the columns or potential test questions. Sure. So they can quiz themselves later, right? Because not every kid has a parent or somebody at home willing to help them. And I was the kid that sat there and just read it over and over and over and over and over. And it doesn't stick like that all the time. You got to quiz. You got to, that's why Cornell notes are great because you can fold it over and quiz yourself, right? Yeah. But when I asked that question to the faculty, they paused.
Yeah. Opens them up a little bit.
Well, you forget. When you become an adult, you forget what you didn't know when you were that age.
Sure.
And I always try to put myself in that position, like the perspective of them. Okay, I know I've been through a lot, but that perspective, right? And it's really easy to forget. And so when I share those types of things with the faculty, they definitely respond a lot better because I'm not asking them to do anything more. Yeah. I'm just asking them to think through how they're doing it and maybe a more productive way for the students to grow and learn.
Sure.
Same thing with incorporating WICOR, and that's WICOR, writing, inquiry, collaboration, organization, reading. That's like the backbone of AVID. Mm-hmm. It's not hard for teachers to incorporate that because if you have teachers who are standing up and lecturing the whole time, all those kids are getting is audio. I'm not a person that memorizes and remembers by hearing it. I have to do, see, touch, feel, interact. And so that teacher's going to lose me.
Yeah.
Even though I might be an intelligent kid, that's just not the way that I learn. Yeah. But if you incorporate WICOR into the variety of your lessons, you incorporate writing, you incorporate questioning, you incorporate an organizational tactic of the materials, you incorporate a way for them to collaborate with their peers and ask questions, and you give them opportunities to read things. You don't have to do every single one in every single unit, but when you're doing a lesson, think about that. Yeah. What am I just doing the same thing all period? Or am I shaking it up and making sure that students are hearing, doing, seeing, writing? Are they doing all of it? Yeah. Because if you're not, then you're not going to catch all the kids, because not everybody learns the way that you teach, or not everybody learns the way that you learn.
Yeah.
And that is hugely important for teachers to understand too.
Beth, I was so excited because I was hoping we could geek out on instruction.
Geek out on instruction.
We were geeking out on instruction.
I know. Well, and 18-year-old me would be like, oh, wow, Beth.
I know, you've come so far.
You've come so far from failing Spanish.
Well, but in explicitly teaching how to take notes, explicitly teaching how to study.
Yes.
I mean, you guys take it a step further. You explicitly teach how to talk to adults.
Yes.
You explicitly
how to write
teach
an email.
How to write an email.
If you have an issue with your grade, you don't say, hey, Brown, hey, miss.
Yeah.
You messed up my grade on this assignment. How about, good morning, Miss Brown. I hope your day's going well. I noticed that my grade was wrong. Could you double check that for me? Or could I come in and look at that with you? It makes all the difference.
Well, and I think many adults go, how does that student not know how to do that?
Exactly.
Well, guess what? They've never been taught.
They've never been taught.
Never been modeled.
They're young. They're not you. They're not 45.
And maybe they only hear conversations in their surroundings that aren't as formal as that. So you have to teach kids how to be formal like that.
And a very good majority of students need to learn that formality.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I would say the majority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little about standardized testing, because it's kind of that, we're getting ready for AP tests. We're getting ready for kids like committing themselves to SAT.
Yeah.
And, I got a team that builds all that content. So it's always fresh in my brain.
Yes.
What do you do to help kids get ready for, because it's a huge deal. I mean, not only you're trying to get students into school, you're trying to get them scholarships.
Absolutely.
So
scholarships. We hit 10 million.
That's how we're going to transition to scholarships.
Okay.
Oh, I want to hear about $10 million too. So how do you motivate? How do you support? How do you get students ready to be successful on standardized testing, SAT, ACT?
So we incorporate time in the AVID classroom to essentially give them pointers and coach them on how to take the tests.
Super.
And then we also let them take practice tests, collaborate with friends or peers, excuse me. I say they're friends because most of the whole class knows each other, right? Yeah. And so we actually work it into our curriculum. We also work with our students and help them for the actual taking the test. So our campus, in fact, our whole district, Richardson School District, we, when the students are juniors in the spring, they test every single junior for the ACT, and it's free.
That's great.
And so that way, every student has at least a benchmark ACT. And then if they want to take it again, they absolutely can, or take the SAT. Yeah. So we also provide, just study materials, but really we encourage them to study more on their own. Yeah. Because while you're in the classroom, you're going to be distracted, but you got to own it. And that's part of something that we teach in AVID. You got to own it. You got to own yourself and things like that. So, but guiding them on always answer every question on this test, because you can't get you won't lose points for a wrong answer.
Yes.
Little things like that. Exactly.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure they know those things before they go into the test, and then know where they have resources to make sure they're studying.
Did you know that UWorld's courses for AP are a great choice for not only AVID educators, but all teachers who work with AP students? UWorld helps decrease AP dropout rates, ensure academic rigor, and provide insight into knowledge gaps, and helps educators get students exam ready. Here's more about how you can ensure your AP students and teachers have the resources they need to be successful. Every day, educators work tirelessly to keep high school students motivated. But despite their best efforts, too many students still feel lost in a system that doesn't always support their success. At UWorld, we believe education is about unlocking a future full of possibilities. That's why our team of educators created teaching and learning tools for the advanced placement, SAT, and ACT exams. Powerful, easy-to-use resources that help students master even the most challenging concepts. Content that features dynamic visuals created by world-class artists and interactive elements that spark curiosity and a love for learning. Our mission is to help every student reach their full potential. Whether that means earning valuable college credit by excelling on AP exams or achieving their dream SAT score, UWorld is here every step of the way. Every day, across the country, students are using UWorld to turn their aspirations into reality. Discover how UWorld can help your students succeed. Visit collegereadiness.uworld.com to learn more. So let's talk about scholarships a little bit.
Ooh, yeah, I love scholarships.
It's a huge deal.
It's needed, yes.
It's needed.
It's needed. That's why it's a big deal.
How do you guys identify scholarships for your students? How do you help them apply? Talk me through all that whole process with scholarships.
Yeah, so I'm about to have this conversation tomorrow with about 70 eighth graders.
Okay.
Because we have... Eighth graders.
Love
so
that.
we work a lot with our feeder campus, West and Westwood. And so we have our 8th grade AVID class coming up tomorrow that my AVID juniors, freshmen, and sophomores are going to lead in a, couple hours of different, like school tour, conversations, panel, things like that. And so one of the things that I share with these 8th graders is that they're starting 9th grade with a clean slate. Like it starts 9th grade. And a lot of students forget that when they're in 9th grade because senior year looks so far away. They think, oh, I've got time to fix things if I screw up my freshman year. But that's not really the case. Because you ever destroy your GPA, it's really hard to get it back up, right? So I tell the freshmen there are 4 major things that colleges typically look for in an application. It's going to be your GPA, of course, right? They're also going to be looking at courses of rigor.
Yep.
They would rather see a student get a B in an AP or dual credit class than an A in a regular class because now the college knows that the student is capable of more rigorous work, and so they're more likely to take them on, Sometimes the students get so hung up on the GPA, but really so many schools now are looking holistically, which was how I got into UT. And so, so GPA, courses of rigor, every year if you can, right? Every year. And if you can't, try to take one in the summer for dual credit at a local community college because those are oftentimes even free or very reduced price. Extracurricular activities. They don't want a kid that's just going to school and coming home. They want a well-rounded student. They want students who are willing to give to their community and build the community around them. And so they want students who are involved and know how to be socially interactive. And then finally, the 4th one is community service, serving others over self. It's common knowledge that teenagers tend to be considered more, children, let's say, tend to be considered more selfish. They're focused on themselves. They're just growing. And
teenagers, absolutely.
It's a part of the maturing process. That frontal is still developing, right?
What are you going to do for me?
Yes. What am I going to get out of this, right?
Yes.
So
we love them, but that's just part of growing up.
It's a part of growing up.
Yeah.
I went through it too.
Sure.
But we want the colleges to see that they aren't necessarily that. And
or they can grow and develop
or they can
something.
grow and develop into that they are trying and pushing forward to serve their community. And we provide an ample amount of opportunities for community service. I run the school-wide community service page for every student, not just AVID. But we work with our feeder campuses. We work with marathons that come into town. We work with events around the holidays with the cities. There's a lot of police departments that we work with. And then we also have opportunities. Since we're a demo school, we have visitors come in and we have adults come in and we teach them. And so I always have students who serve as ambassadors. Because essentially Mr. Choate, my principal, he's a huge supporter of AVID, along with Dr. Parker, my AVID principal. And they've seen leadership really grow in AVID. And so now anytime he needs a student to serve on a high-level committee, be a part of an interview, or lead a guest around the building, he almost always texts me and he's like, hey, can you pull together XYZ?
Sure.
Because he knows that the AVID students that we choose are going to represent well.
Sure.
they're going to be well-rounded.
Yeah.
They're going to, and they're going to present themselves, and they're going to show up, because the relationship that we have with our students is so strong that we don't want to let each other down.
Yeah.
I don't want to it's not just me not wanting to let the student down. The student doesn't want to let me down.
Sure.
And that's because of the relationship that we've built and the trust and the honesty, through classroom time.
Sure. So they've got, we know, I love the 4 things. I think that's huge. And that's, for any high school student.
Any
obviously.
high school student. Absolutely.
There's just this pile of scholarships out there.
Yeah.
And how do you connect the student to the right scholarships and do all that? And there's a million colleges out there. It's just for parents, who are actively getting involved in that, it's daunting. For a student who doesn't necessarily maybe have a parent who went to school, it's unbelievably daunting for first generation college.
Exactly.
So what do you guys do?
So I will say, just as a caveat, our Richardson ISD is a Dallas County Promise Camp school. So students with certain income brackets would get to move on to either Dallas College or a few other 4-year college or universities, essentially tuition free.
That's so great.
So, but not every student falls into that category.
Sure.
Right. So, and they're not just paying for tuition, they're also paying for room and board and all the other things, right? So money is really, really important. And so we, I actually, and I might say something that maybe some people disagree with me on, and that's okay. But after doing this for so long, my students drown in those web searches, like the scholarship websites that search everything, because so many entities put those click here and no essay, takes 5 minutes, and it's inundated with that the students feel like those are good ones to apply to. Well, in my 18 years, I've never ever had a student win a scholarship from that.
So the quick, easy way goes with everything. The quick, easy way typically is not the most effective way. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's put it this way. If someone wants to give you thousands of dollars, you got to prove yourself, right?
Absolutely.
Or it's just a lottery.
Yeah.
I basically created a list. I have a website that I have my students go to that has resources that I have compiled over 18 years that I just continually update and update and update. Okay. And so I have basically a document that has a list of places to search specifically for, maybe Hispanic students or for undocumented students or for, these are big money scholarships, national scholarships for high achieving, high GPA.
Sure.
Or these are local in the city. And with my roots being so deep in what I'm doing now, I do have a lot of things that are sent directly to me.
Nice.
And so that I bring that to the students and present it to them as well.
Do you have a number of scholarships you want your students to apply for? Is it vary depending on
about
student?
10 a year.
Okay, about 10. Is it your expectation, I guess?
Yeah, but I will tell you, the ones that want it will do hand and foot more than that.
Sure.
But I also kind of work with the students too. If I know a student's going into the military, then their PT test might replace a scholarship grade.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or them going and doing whatever XYZ for the military would replace this grade. Yeah. I would still ask them to do some scholarships, because another thing I always tell my students, I want you to have a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C, because you never know. And so for like my students who want to go to the military, sometimes they would present me with, I don't want to apply to colleges because I know I'm going into the military. And I said, that's cool. I respect that. I'm a military brat.
Absolutely, me too.
I'm all about it. Yeah, yep. I'm all about it. I will support you all the way through. But what if something happens?
What if you change your mind?
Or what if your medical records from when you were a child surface and something now eliminates you in May?
Yeah.
After all the deadlines have closed.
So backup
now
plan.
What do you do, right? And I say that because I've had 2 students that has happened to in 18 years. 2. And I don't have that big population going to military, so that's 2 out of like 15.
But once again, you can connect those 2 stories to the new student who's got that same situation.
That's how I teach.
Yes, I love it.
I'm teaching I'm talking to you like the way that I teach, I guess.
But that allows me to retain it, me to understand it. It's the same principles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we talk deeper than just college too. because life is important as well.
Okay.
So, and this might be, again, a little taboo, but I share personal things because I want my students to know that they have somebody to trust and talk to. So my students, when they're seniors, not necessarily when they're younger,
Sure.
but when they're seniors, they know the story of when I was roofied.
Mm-hmm.
And, that usually gives people a little shock at first. I will go ahead and tell you that everything was good, safe. Nothing happened.
Glad to hear it.
But, when you're young and when you're old, you have the mentality of it's always going to happen to the other person.
Sure.
Right? And so I told them, I'm always paying attention to my stuff, but I just happened to have a conversation and I turned my head. And then I came back and that's all it took. And so when I tell them that and I turn my head and I do that, it's like it clicks.
They could see how that would happen.
And they can see how that would happen rather than me just say, watch your drink.
Right.
When you're old enough to drink, of course. But,
right.
And it just sticks a whole lot better, My kids know about the fact that I have 3 in vitro children, And I feel like these types of things are important, even though it has nothing to do with my curriculum, because again, I want them to have a mentor as somebody they can trust with anything they need to ask if they don't have somebody to ask.
Yeah.
Right. And so 7 to 8 years, however many years after one of my girls graduated, I got a message through social media and just said, "Hey, Coach Brown, I'm having infertility problems, and in my culture, it's not discussed. It's very taboo, and I've always remembered your story, and I was wondering if you could talk to me about it and give me some advice."
That's powerful.
And so a teacher's job isn't done at the end of the school year if you're truly passionate about your job and teaching.
Sure.
I mean, boundaries, of course. I don't want to make anybody upset.
Absolutely.
Like,
No.
But,
I get it. Yeah. I love it.
And that's for me. That might not be for everybody,
Sure.
but that's for me because it means a lot to me that they have somebody.
So let's talk about parents for a second. Mm-hmm. You want to obviously engage, your students' parents. You want them involved as much as possible. There's amazing positives that come out of that, but there's some serious barriers and challenges at times.
Yeah.
Language, working 2 or 3 jobs, not being able to get to school for maybe certain things. How do you navigate that whole world and keep parents involved and invite them in as much as you can?
So our district just adopted a new messaging system.
Okay.
I used to use Remind 101, and I just used like the free version, but we now adopted Talking Points. And what's really, really cool about this is it's connected to every attendance system, right? So, and what happens is if I send a message out to parents and guardians and students, even if I write it in English, it translates to any language that they speak. And there's like over hundreds of languages.
How many languages at Richardson High School? It's got to be a ton.
Oh, there's a lot. I mean, I would hate to guess.
Sure,
but
sure. But it's a lot. A lot more than people would think, maybe.
Yeah. Well, let's just put it this way. Some of my students were mentoring my juniors and seniors mentor 4th graders at our ASD Academy under Academy 4. It's there's a lot of different things we do.
Yeah.
But they were like, "Do you have any students that speak Swahili?" I actually had one that knew a little bit.
Yeah.
So I paired them up. But anyway, so we communicate that way. They can write back in whatever language they want, and it comes back to me in English. And so what's been nice about this is not every parent has an email, but every parent has a cell phone.
Sure. So it texts it out. That's wonderful.
Yes. So that has really helped me to just give updates and reminders about deadlines, things coming up, things to ask their kids about, things to look into, because it is a lot. Yeah. And a lot of the parents, and I will also tell you, while we like parent support, by the time they're seniors, which is what my specialty is, I want to deal with the student more.
Absolutely.
Because I want them to be responsible for themselves.
Sure.
Now, permission slips and stuff, yes. If you're not 18, I need to go to your parent. But I don't want to have to call home and check up on you because that's not, So
it's not going to be the reality of the next year.
Exactly. So I really work hard with the student before I ever call home. It will take a lot for me to call home unless it's for great news. But for me to call home and complain, it's been a really long time.
Yeah.
Because I would rather work hard with the student in the classroom and help them build there than pawn it off to somebody else just to get on their case, which is just going to make them more frustrated with me.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Just working with them.
Let's tell some stories.
Okay.
Because you have a million fantastic AVID stories.
Yes.
And I want to tap into them because I want to hear them. I'm sure listeners want to hear them. I got one AVID story that, like, when I think of AVID, I think about when I was, in education. But I want to hear a few AVID stories, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Success stories, things that just have been cool that you've seen.
Yeah, I'll kind of summarize it a little bit. Gosh, there's so many over the years. Well, I just had a student come to my classroom today and hand me his college graduation invitation.
Oh.
Just cute little things like that happen all the time, But so let me tell you about a few girls, or a few students, actually. I had one student years ago who, she was rough. She was from a very, very broken home, if you can even call it a home. Was getting in fights, was just not the student that we would kick out of AVID.
Sure.
But for some reason, we hung on to her.
Stuck with her.
And we wrapped our arms around her every level of the way. And by the time she graduated, she became a Gates Scholar, which is, no, I'm sorry. She wasn't Gates. She was Dell Scholar.
Dell Scholar, yeah.
Dell Scholar, and she got a full ride to Virginia Tech.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And this is a student that wasn't even expected to graduate high school. I have two different students from two different years who went on to become the president of the student body at the university, one at Wichita State and one at the University of North Texas in Denton. I have, it's almost overwhelming thinking about all of them, but it's just so rewarding because I keep up with a lot of them on social media and I get to see all the really cool things they're doing.
So
traveling the world.
Oh, absolutely. And it's so easy to keep up with
now
students.
it is,
because they graduate and then you can suddenly,
I always tell them, though, you have to friend me. I'm not going to send you a friend request.
That's the way to do it.
You have to ask me to be your friend.
Yes. So, but then it's still cool to kind of keep up with them. So this is, kind of a challenging question potentially, but there are students that come into AVID and that have to leave AVID. Mm-hmm. So have you ever had students leave AVID and come back? Yeah,
I've got a couple coming back. Sometimes it's usually for scheduling issues. Okay. Like we'll give them like a vacation year, right? But then we have other students for disciplinary options, things. We absolutely have to remove students every year, for a variety of disciplinary things because we need to showcase what leadership is. Mm-hmm. And, vaping on campus isn't leadership. Right?
Sure.
Or getting in fights and things like that. Mm-hmm. But I will say we are always willing to give a second chance, depending upon their response to the situation. Yeah. So I had a boy years ago. He was a freshman. Him, another AVID student, another kid thought it would be a great idea to pour, oil on the cement stairs or terrazzo stairs. And watch just to see what would happen.
Ooh.
Yeah, exactly, right? So after that happened, of course, I sat down with the two AVID students separately and was just like, talk to me. Tell me where your head is at. What's going on? One student's response was very, very different from the other. One student I released, the other one I kept.
Do you mind me asking what the responses were? I'm super curious.
Well, it was just lack of empathy.
Got it.
Lack of concern, right? And the other one was hugely apologetic, explained why he shouldn't have done that, begged me for a second chance.
Yeah. So one had already processed.
Wanted to prove it to me, yeah. And I kept him, and gosh, by the time he was a senior, he never got in trouble again, not once. And when he was a senior, he was my ambassador who would talk to my kids that were doing the wrong things and help teach them to turn them around because they don't always want to talk to the teacher. So I have my students who were in that same spot 3 years ago sit down and chat with them. And I'm just like, hey, I need y'all to talk.
Yeah.
I've got my veteran here with my rookie. Speak some wisdom in.
That's great.
And I'm just going to hang out. I don't need to listen to your conversation either.
That's great.
Just because I trust my veteran enough to speak into them. And it's pretty powerful.
How do you, you've developed this amazing ability to communicate with students. I'm sure you speak to that with your teachers on your campus and the teachers, across the country, AVID or not AVID.
Correct.
How do you help get teachers there with their communication? Because some teachers may have heard the opposite. Maybe hey, you're there to teach, you're there to stand up and give instruction. How do you move? You maybe change that paradigm so that teacher then starts to go, hey, there's something to this building relationships with students that I really need to kind of grab onto.
Honestly, it's almost the exact same thing I do with teachers as I do with students. I'm energetic in PD. I make jokes. I laugh. I make fun of myself.
Yeah.
And I admit when I'm wrong because I'm wrong. I'm wrong, but I don't have a problem admitting it because I think there's power in that.
Yeah.
And so I go out of my way to say hi when I'm walking in the hallway. My goal is to not have a teacher in the building that has a problem with me, right? My goal is to have a good rapport with as many people in the building as possible because I'm part of the fun committee. I want to be around a good culture. And I know they do too. And I know I can be a lot sometimes. And I'll say that, I'm sorry, let me just settle it down. Let me quiet down. I just walked in and I woke up the whole front administration because I was like, good morning. And they're all like, okay, we haven't had our coffee yet.
Yeah.
So, it's just building relationships with the teachers. And when they see that you're a genuine person and genuinely trying to do the right thing for kids, they're more likely to follow your lead, whether they tell you or not. If someone goes up there and talks to me like they know it all and they're telling me how to do my job, I'm not gonna, who are you? I don't know you.
Yeah.
But they got to know that I'm real too, right? Like I mess up, but I'm also going to try hard,
So there's folks out there listening, maybe they're not educators, or maybe they're educators and they want to be an AVID teacher. You get some advice for them?
Go to Summer Institute training first and foremost if you're an educator. If you're not an educator.
That's a great advice though. I mean, that's a great way to get
that's the first thing.
Almost indoctrinated maybe into
I'm telling
the
you,
wonderful AVID.
I know that word is thrown around sometimes, maybe even by us, but it's true. It's like, it is. It's kind of like you drank the punch, but it's not bad punch. It's not like a...
I knew
you know what I'm saying? It's not like that. It's like...
We're not going to say the cult word.
Yeah. It's just like... We want to lift up education. We want to be positive. We want to have warm, good thoughts about the classrooms that we're running and the classrooms that we're spending the majority of our lives in. We're not just a teacher. That's our atmosphere too, And I want to be happy when I'm at work. You want to be. So it's a lot about morale building, culture building, making sure that people feel appreciated. One of the things that I do, this is something that any teacher can do. I love just a few times a year, I'll just get my students and I'll say, you guys, we're going to have a chill day. I'm just going to ask you to share appreciation and gratitude. And so what we do is we just write random appreciation, gratitude notes to teachers throughout the building. And I always actually guide my students. I said, now, write one to your favorite teacher. Sure, that's great. By the way, it can't be an AVID teacher because we love you, but that has to be an extra one.
Sure.
So you have to do one for any, one or two for any teacher, but it can't be an AVID teacher. And then, but you may want to think about doing one for the teacher that you're struggling with.
Oh, I love this.
What class are you failing? What class are you knocking heads with the teacher? Like, it is not working for you.
Mm-hmm.
Write something to them. But I don't have anything to say, miss. You can merely say, I won't write it for you. I will tell you what to say.
I will help you with this.
I will help you with this, right? Yeah, I won't tell you what to say, but I'll help you. I'll edit it. Just say, I appreciate the effort that you put in towards teaching. I know I can be difficult, but I appreciate the effort.
Goes so far.
It goes so far. And what does that do to the student?
I know.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And then what I do is either my tutors that I've hired or myself or my site team, because site team is really big on our campus. That's a whole other thing with AVID.
Yeah.
I'll go, and I love it because it's usually a random Wednesday, not around a holiday, not around teacher appreciation, just a random day. Yeah. And I'll just go put all of them all in the teachers' mailboxes and let them be surprised.
Great day for them.
Yeah, and then sometimes I get them, and I'm like, oh,
yeah, that's awesome.
Even though I wasn't supposed to get them, It's always cute when they write one for me too.
So my AVID story, we could talk about a million different AVID things, but one of the cool things AVID does is college visits.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
So I was lucky enough to take a group of students to a college visit to OU. Mm-hmm. And one of the things funny that happened is I drove a Suburban and I had to parallel park it. And they were so excited that I could correctly parallel park it. They're high-fiving me. That's a whole nother story. But we went to, I think, the business school and met some professors there. Mm-hmm. And one of the students got offered a full scholarship on the spot.
It happens.
Oh, my gosh.
It happens.
I mean, everybody's crying. I mean, it was just like tears. And that student just lit up. And I just remember that being such a powerful thing that the student saw where their future was going to be.
Exactly.
And
seeing that light?
It was incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. So...
we've done a lot of trips. I mean, gosh. And we know what else is so fun? Whenever we go to trips, we always text out our alumni or we'll put it on Facebook on our way out there.
That happened on that
trip.
And
they always come and visit us for lunch.
Yes.
Great. And then we're like, so you want to hang out or do you want to talk to them? Or do you want to
take them to their dorm room?
Well, if we can, but we usually can't take 100 kids to their dorm room.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so fun. It's so neat. And I love it too when they aren't expecting to see us and we just happen to cross paths.
Just like walking through.
Yeah, just walking through, and they're like, and then it's like, that just happened like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's so cool.
It's fun.
Can you talk to me about this gong?
Oh, yes.
What is this that you brought?
So I'll hit it. This is what I call my good news gong. And it's a little, I kind of had to fix it. I've had it for a few years. But I love celebrating our classroom. And it started with whenever we got a college acceptance or a scholarship. But then it moved on to just being the good news gong. Because sometimes I just want to celebrate the fact that I got a new job. Yeah. Or I want to celebrate that, I just got a puppy. Yeah. Or whatever. And so this is our good news gong, and I'm going to hit it because...
we got some good news.
I do have some good news.
Excellent.
So this is my 18th year in education, my 17th with seniors. Every year we tally up our scholarship totals. And in the last 5 years, we keep beating the prior year. Last year, we were at $8.7 million out of 73 AVID senior scholars. And I was like, I don't know how we're going to top. How are we going to keep topping this, right? So I have 75 seniors this year, and they have earned over $10 million in scholarships alone. That does not include, let me be very clear on this, financial aid or grants. Yeah. This is solely free money. Yes. One was a Gates Millennium Scholar, which is free tuition, bachelor's, master's, doctorate.
Oh my gosh.
I had one Dell Scholar, which is beautiful scholarship mentoring all through college. I had 3 Texas Leader Scholars, which are essentially full rides, essentially. And then I also had several other full rides to like SMU and a few other places. Yeah. And an athletic scholarship, one going to run track. And so it's just so awesome to see them just own their life, awesome and their future. So yeah.
Megan, you got any questions over there for Beth?
Well, you got my question about the gong because I wanted
yes.
And I have another question.
Yeah.
You talk about AVID students, and they didn't have AVID when I was at Richardson a very, very long time ago.
I know, they got it in 2006.
I was long out of high school by then. Is every AP student an AVID student, or do you have to take a certain amount of AP courses, or like how does that work?
So yeah, let me explain that a little bit better. So our goal for our students is to take a course of rigor every year. So some of our students, that looks a little bit different. If a student that has a learning disability or has an individual education plan, IEP, chemistry or physics on level might be their most rigorous class. But that's usually the exception to the rule. Yeah. The expectation is that every year they push themselves to enroll and try to complete at least one course of rigor, whether that's a pre-AP, AP, dual credit, or on-ramps. And on-ramps is dual credit with the University of Texas at Austin. So yeah. So, but we also aren't going to leave them in a class if they're not successful in it. We will help them try to be successful. And if we've just realized that maybe that was just the wrong course of rigor, we usually will let them come out, but then we'll re-enroll them in something new, something different, maybe a different line of study the following year. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for doing this.
It's my pleasure. I am so passionate about this work. I'm passionate about AVID, and it hurts me to see in this economy some schools who maybe have just implemented AVID or haven't had as much success with AVID because of maybe the way that it's being run at their campus.
Sure.
They're beginning to cut.
Yeah, that's
And
heartbreaking.
So it's a difficult time right now with all of that hanging over our heads too.
For sure. I mean,
but-
I would say it's a challenging time in education for sure.
Yeah, say it lightly. Yeah.
Yeah, it is definitely saying lightly. I think what I've taken out of this conversation is all these things you're doing and all this awesome stuff. Yeah, AVID's a wonderful support, a wonderful training, a wonderful everything. But these things can happen in every classroom.
Absolutely. It's best practices. It's just being a good human to other humans.
Yep.
And, it's funny. When I first started teaching, someone gave me advice. They said, don't smile till November. And I was like, I'm high-fiving him and hugging him on the first day of school.
So don't listen to that.
So don't listen to that.
Yeah, it's horrible advice.
That was horrible advice. And I don't know. I can't even remember who even said that. But relationships matter.
For sure. And if you're not having fun, they're not having fun.
They're not having fun. Yeah. If you're barely slugging through this, they're going to be barely slugging through it with you. Just be honest as teachers, transparent, and have some grace.
Yeah.
Remember what it was like to be that age.
Yeah.
Remember what it was like to not have it all together, but still being yelled at by your parents to have it together and your teachers to have it together, but you're confused. Just grace.
Yeah.
I definitely extend grace because I want grace extended to me too when I mess up.
Well, thank you for all you do for kids.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see where your students, your seniors this year, take that $10 million and where they go off and how successful it'll be. And you keep on doing what you're doing.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. I really appreciate you having me.
Awesome. The opinions expressed by our guests and hosts are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views from Classroom to Campus, UWorld, or its affiliates. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Please remember to subscribe and leave a 5-star rating that really helps us out. Thank you so much.